It's good morning and welcome to Freedom Homestead. My name is Tangi and today is book club day. And we are, for those of you who are joining us who have no idea what's going on, we are discussing the book Beyond Labels by Joel Sexton and Sina McCullough. This book is an amazing book talking about our food culture and how we need to take more control over it so we can eat better by being more knowledgeable, by knowing where to source things, how to properly prepare things, and doing it all a little bit at a time so we're not overwhelmed. Rome was not built in a day. So there's that. Okay, so joining me today is Anna from Fermented Homestead and Miss Julie from Row & Co Farms. And you might be noticing that we are missing one of our musketeers, and that would be Miss Constance with A Good Life Farm. She had a family emergency, and she did say that because a lot of you are so loving and caring, that she will have a video out for you all today explaining what's going on. But for the moment, we will leave that information up to her to share, and we will just ask prayers for her and her family on her behalf. So we see a few of you are watching. If you will say hi. Hello, there's Miss Kathy and Miss Heather. Let us know where you are watching from. Are you reading along with us? And yeah, just feel free to share as much as you want in the chats. Good morning, Parker. And yeah, we love the interaction, hearing your all's thoughts. We learn so much from you guys. So we are now in chapter 5. So we are like over the halfway point, and I was really excited about this chapter because it's like, okay, now we've got the knowledge. Now we're going to put some stuff into practice. Let's see. So let's talk. I don't know. Is there anything that you guys want to discuss in kind of like the introduction part of chapter 5? Do y'all have anything highlighted you wanted to share?
I didn't highlight anything.
I didn't either. I
didn't either. Yeah, I think a lot of this was just kind of recapping what had already been discussed. So basically, chapter 5 is taking that next step that was talked about toward the beginning of the book. So there was switching from your standard American diet, eating all the processed things, to upgrading to a high quality processed foods, meaning things that are still in a box, but they might be labeled organic, non-GMO, and then just learning what those labels mean, how to spot them, and that kind of stuff. So chapter 5 is discussing going from the high quality processed foods to whole foods, which is like our happy place. Not to say that we don't enjoy the high quality processed foods, because they are kitchen savers, but we know that whole foods are really where it's at. Okay, so bite number 35 is, I love this one because it is so counterintuitive to what we have been taught in our culture, which is count quality, not calories. And Julie actually got something this week that I think falls right in line with this. You want to share your show and tell?
Yeah, I would love to. So just a quick background. So my family is here visiting, or I'm actually visiting with my family that I don't get to see very often. So we went through a box of old memorabilia, and I found in that box this old pamphlet. It's from 1968, and this is probably one of the first, I want to say, iterances of the nutritional guidelines issued by the USDA. And we can already see when I look through this document that there are already lots of references to lean meats and using vegetable oils and canola oil and all that kind of stuff is already making its way into the nutritional guidelines. So I found it just really interesting, because we've been talking about this, to actually go back to where that standard American diet started. Like, this is it. It's right here. Now, they were still recommending some things like organ meats, which I don't know that they still recommend those today. I haven't looked at the current guidelines today because I don't follow them, but it was just really interesting to kind of go back and thumb through and see what the recommendations were, 50, 60 years ago, and how things have changed or not changed. They really haven't changed. I don't think they're still kind of touting the same old stuff. So so it was pretty interesting. I'm gonna maybe try to take some pictures of this or leave some links of it somewhere where people can maybe go and look at some of the writing that was in here. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, onto the quality, not quantity necessarily, calories. I totally agree with this. I have been victim to the diet lifestyle. I think that's what we can kind of call it, is just that everyone feels like they have to adhere to this calorie counting or adhere to some specific type of diet. And I always found that to be so hindering, because you're spending more time counting and spending your mental energy on just figuring out what you can eat. How many did I eat? Can I eat 10 of this or 5 of this or 3 of this? And to get to some certain, calorie number. And in the end, it's probably pretty arbitrary anyway. If you just eat real food, you can pretty much eat almost any quantity of what you want, because your body's going to kind of regulate it itself. You're going to get full and you're going to stop eating. and where the other foods you're getting that are just, empty calories, you just continue to eat and eat and eat and eat, because they're not satiating you, and they're actually feeding the cravings for more. And so you're just consuming more calories. So the time you're spending, counting all those calories, you end up consuming more because you're so hungry, because a calorie isn't just a calorie. It's different, nutritionally, depending on what you eat. So yeah, this chapter to me is everything. This is the heart of how we are choosing to eat and diet. Is we're like, okay, we got to count X number of calories every day. We can only eat this many, and we can only do this. And it's not the same. A calorie, like they say, a calorie of soda isn't the same as a calorie of broccoli or a calorie of grass-fed beef. It's all different, and the way your body processes it is different. So yeah, this chapter right here was everything. Obviously, I'm fired up about it. I have so much to say, but I'm going to let somebody else talk now.
Well, and one thing that I was feeling this really hard, like this conversation actually came up between me and my son yesterday. And I thought, man, I wish I wish they were teaching this in public schools, because, we're taught calories, and all of that. But he was asking me, okay, my son is 16. He's taller than me. I don't know. He's between 5'10" and 6 feet tall. I'm not exactly sure how tall he is. But he does martial arts, and he is wanting to lose like 10 pounds. That was kind of a ballpark number that he threw out there. And so he asked me, he's like, so what do I do? And I said, well, you eat good foods, don't consume a lot of sugar, don't eat processed foods, and keep moving your body. And so we got into the discussion of, I said, if you were to ask, another person, they might tell you calories in, calories out. You figure out how many calories you need to function, and then you have a deficit, and I said, but you're 16, like just eat good foods. Don't worry about the calories, and, keep exercise, because he goes for walks. He has a punching bag downstairs, and he does all that. And I'm like, just lay off the soda and lay off the processed foods. And I just thought, man, if we could teach, young people that good, nutritious food, and you don't necessarily have to worry about the calories, I think that would just be so much better. And because we know that food affects mental health, and, you've got a lot of, it seems like, I don't know what it is. And I don't want to get up on this tangent, but I'm sure a lot of you all have noticed, especially if you're on social media, it seems like there's like this uptick in anxiety and just a lot of different situations. And I know, like, Al Lumna from Lumna Acres, he was, he had depression and anxiety and learned that his diet had a lot to do with the contributing factors, which is what led him to homesteading. And he lives a clean lifestyle now, and that has, greatly affected his mental health. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that, but I just think this is, like you said, it's a wonderful, wonderful information that I wish everybody knew.
I agree. My husband is very much on the calories in, calories out bandwagon. However, I think that things have kind of changed a little bit for him recently. He still has plans to go back to it, but he has been doing keto. It's really like low carb because I tested his blood sugar, and he did not believe that it mattered, and it did. He was 133, and 136 is, according to what I've read, is diabetic. So he was very, very pre-diabetic, and since then he's cut out the carbs, and he's just like eating like, basically like I do, but with more leeway. Like he does still have some carbs. Like he has the willpower. He had like a half a cup of ice cream, and and I'm like, how do you do that? I'm like, he bought a pint of ice cream and ate a half of a cup of it, and I'm just like, all right then. The whole thing would have been gone if I bought it. But but he's definitely starting to be more on that bandwagon, and just, the hormones are everything, especially in females. Hormones with weight loss, like if your hormones are jacked up, good luck losing weight. Good luck. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah, that was when I was talking to Parker yesterday, I mentioned, that keto works for me. And he said, well, how much weight can you lose? And I was like, well, you can't compare yourself to me because I'm a 42-year-old woman and you're a 16-year-old male. And so our bodies are so completely different because of the hormone factor. It's crazy. My mind went blank. Sorry, y'all go ahead. Let's see.
I'm looking at chat here. Oh yeah, I'm looking at chats here too.
Yeah. Let's see. Excess body fat is a symptom of underlying dysfunction. It's so much more complex than the concept of a calorie. Very true.
Yes.
Let's see. Kathy said, operating on a calorie deficit, I gained 8 pounds in 3 months. That backfired on me big time. Yeah, I know when I was younger, I counted calories one time and did really, really well. But I was younger then. But I know for me now, it does not work. It does not work. I'm going to be sharing a lot of Heather's stuff. Blood sugar dysregulation cascades through the endocrine system. So if you have hormone imbalance, you most likely need to look at blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's very true.
That makes total sense. I can tell when I haven't eaten a solid meal or a real tight meal because I start getting so irritable. And so now I've just told my family, if I start getting snippy, just tell me to go eat a snack. I need to eat something, and it needs to be something that's going to carry you through so that you're not getting those huge blood sugar spikes, because that sugary stuff it's straight up, your insulin goes up, that causes inflammation, you get insulin resistance, and your body has basically always got tons of insulin pumping through it, which is terrible for your body. I know people hear those terms, insulin resistance, and that comes from insulin having to constantly be introduced to lower your blood sugar because you have spiked it so high. So yeah, the less times you do that, the better off you're going to be, so that you're not causing those just up and down, up and down, up and down, with your your hormones and your sugar levels and everything else. And of course, with women too, it's almost like being a different person 4 weeks, every week of the month, you have a different phase of your cycle that you're going through. It's not just, it's not just the week that you are having your cycle. There is 4 parts to the cycle, and we are feeling those all throughout the month, and it affects our diet and what we want to eat and what we should be feeding ourselves. And I'm sure Heather will have something to say about this too. I would love to hear what she has to say about this actually. And how insulin, there we go. Your body produces enough insulin for 10 cookies when you eat one. Yeah. That's unbelievable. I mean, it's terrible. It's really terrible for your body long term, and that's what leads to diabetes and your pancreas not functioning and not producing insulin in enough quantities later in life. That's what's that type 2 diabetes, is that it either stops functioning altogether, or it just barely functions and it barely is able to produce insulin for your body. So yeah, it's a huge deal. The calories that we're consuming, sugar calories and carb calories, are just over the top. It's over the top.
I've heard with type 2 diabetes, it's actually the opposite. Your body it's just your body is not your body is not responding to the insulin that it's producing. So your body's actually creating more insulin, because it's like it has to get over this threshold that your body it's already resistant to it. So it's just like your body's full of insulin and it has nowhere to go. I'm not explaining it properly. Like I read about it like about a year ago or something like that, where it's actually the opposite. It's people who have diabetes type 2 are actually the opposite. Their body's producing so much insulin, your body just can't handle it. And then so your body has to create more because your body's not sensitive to it. That's why if you're not insulin sensitive, then your body's creating too much. And then type 1 is the opposite. Like my dad was diabetic type 2, and then his body could just pumped out so much insulin over his time of not regulating his blood sugar that his pancreas just gave up. He's like, screw you. Now I'm type 1.
Yes.
So I mean, it could go either way, but I've heard it argued both ways.
How my brain works, when Heather said, if you eat a cookie, your body produces enough insulin for 10 cookies. I read, if you're going to eat one, you might as well eat 10.
That's probably why.
But don't do that. I'm just saying that's how my brain works. Let's see. Heather said, that's right, Anna. You essentially lose the communication between your pancreas and hypothalamus. So you keep producing insulin because the brain doesn't see that it is already there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's basically, like, I've been learning a ton when I've been doing all the fasting books like Jason Fung and all of those sorts of things. And basically, like, oh crap, I lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with it. It was important. It basically just that insulin is basically just the fat storage hormone. And when you spike your insulin, it's just you're signaling to your body and your hormones. Insulin is a hormone, so you're signaling to your body, hey, store fat. And that comes about when you eat mostly sugar, but also protein. So if you eat like a high fat diet, that's why a lot of low carb people believe in the high fat and kind of moderate protein, low carb, is because it doesn't spike your insulin as much, and it doesn't cause your body to pack away the hormones. So every time that you eat, regardless of what you're eating, unless you're eating olive oil, you're spiking your insulin and saying, hey, store this. And so a lot of times people like to do like the OMAD style thing, or, like 2 MADs or whatever it may be. And that's because you're spiking your insulin less. And so you go through that initial period of time where your insulin is spiked and you're stacking away that your body's storing fat. And then you go into the opposite stage and your body's starting to break down the fat that's in your body. But you can only do that once you turn off the hormones. And if you're eating 6 times a day, that's never going to stop. Your insulin is never going to stop spiking because you're just constantly spiking your insulin. So you're always going to be in fat storage mode. So I'm fascinated by fasting.
All right. Any other thoughts in this section? If not, we can move on to bite number 36. And that is avoid the dirty dozen. Choose the clean 15. And I think a lot of us have probably heard of this. It's a handy dandy list that if you're going to spend the extra money to get organic, then the dirty dozen is what you want to focus on. Those are that's the produce that typically has the most pesticides, fungicides, and everything. So if you're going to go organic and invest your money, then that is a good place to put them. And then, of course, the clean 15 is one that it's not absolutely necessary if you buy it organic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still want to wash it when you get home because you just never know. People are nasty, y'all. Nasty. So I think avocados, that to me makes sense. Like avocados, oranges, bananas, because they come in their own like shell. So to me, it makes sense that you wouldn't have to worry whether or not it's organic. But potatoes, I remember watching, I don't know if you guys saw it. Gosh, I don't even know how many years ago. A little girl was doing a science experiment for school, and she wanted to sprout potatoes. And so she went to the store and bought a potato and brought it home and was trying to get it to sprout, and it wouldn't do it. And then she was told because it had bud nip in it, and it just like saturated the whole potato. Where did you go?
Where did you go, Julie?
Shit.
Gone.
I'm sorry.
I can still hear you.
I'm so
There you go.
sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to cuss. I'm sorry. There. Am I back?
Yeah.
You are, and I didn't hear you say that.
I said a bad word. I'm sorry.
I didn't.
I was
hear
like, what just happened? I keep having stuff pop up on my screen. I was trying to clear it out and it just went away. And I was like, oh no.
Jack did that one time when we were doing a live. I was like, don't touch things. But anyway, so bud nip was all over the potato, and that's why it wouldn't sprout. And it was just like, if it is, I mean, just the thought of that, and then consuming it, because it's in there. It's not just like on the potato, but it's in the potato. It's gross. Just don't. Just.
That's why I've never understood why people think that just that the chemicals stay on like the outside of whatever you're eating. I mean, like when you water something with it, like it sucks it up into the food. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bad stuff.
I say that, but I still get the non-organic potatoes. Aldi doesn't carry organic potatoes, but they should.
That's why I love Costco. That's not why I love Costco, but Costco doesn't carry organic potatoes, but they have a lot of organic produce.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Aldi is getting better, but I mean, like their organic produce section at our Aldi is like, I guess I would say it's about as wide as my desk, which is, I think it's 3 feet, 4 feet, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, yeah. Okay. So anything else that you guys want to add, or any other takeaways from the Dirty Dozen Clean 15?
I had just one comment, and that one part that surprised me was the part about the DDT, that has been banned for many years, but they still can use it in combination with other things. As long as they don't use just straight up DDT, then it's still being used. Like,
because it's grass, yo.
I don't get it.
Have you looked up the history of the use of DDT in the United States?
I haven't read it all. No.
They used to like literally go around with trucks filled with DDT to like swimming pools and like spray children with it, because like everywhere, because they believed that it was a treatment for polio. But yet when you actually look up the side effects of DDT, guess what they are? Polio.
Oh my word.
All the side effects of polio. So guess where all the freaking polio hikes went from, and where they went. They stopped using DDT. So anyways.
Yeah.
You should look up. It's a messed up history.
Yeah.
That is messed up. Wow.
Yeah. I think this list is a good place to start. If you need somewhere to start there. Start there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I agree.
Or grow the stuff that's on the Dirty Dozen list. Grow it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that stuff you could grow yourself, for sure. Maybe not everything, but a lot of it. Strawberries, spinach, kale, grapes.
I say just don't.
Tomatoes. Yeah.
I say just don't eat spinach.
just
don't eat spinach. Take it from Anna.
It has such high oxalates, it kills my stomach. It's awful.
It does. Yeah, that was my husband is prone to kidney stones, so we had been doing really well with keeping up with trying to not eating high oxalate foods, but I always forget that spinach is one of them. All right. Yeah. So Heather said everything falls under the GRAS essentially if it doesn't kill on contact. It's grass. Yeah, that's what you were saying, grass. Gotcha. Okay. Cindy says, how long would you recommend cooking bones for chicken broth?
Oh, I was just typing a reply to that. It depends if you have histamine issues. If you have like a lot of allergies and stuff like that, you want to cook it for less time or in a pressure cooker. And if you don't really have any histamine issues, like you don't have seasonal allergies, stuff like that, you can cook it anywhere from like 24 to 36 hours. I mean, you could go higher if you want to, but I mean, usually that's about how long I do it for. And if you're going for the pressure cooker, probably about 6 hours.
Oh, see, I don't even go that long in mine. I think I do 2 hours. Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing. I do chicken. I only do chicken. So chicken.
Yeah,
I go chicken. Oh yeah, chicken. Yeah.
Right.
I think I do the pressure cooker most of the time. And
yeah, I just started working with the pressure cooker. So the pressure cooker, I'm not 100% on.
Yeah. But I do mine pressure cook for about 2 hours. Yeah. I do it for 2 hours, and the bones usually will just disintegrate in my hands when I pick them up. So
that's good. That's about the point I could take them to. Like when they just like you can crumble them fairly.
Yes, like you could feel safe giving them to your dogs, and they'll totally they'll just become powder when they eat them. So yeah.
Sometimes I break them. Like I'll go halfway through and I'll like snap some of the larger size bones just to make sure that all the marrow and stuff comes out of them.
Ooh, yeah.
Sometimes, not always. Yeah. I usually do it with like a pair of tongs or something.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
So that's I concur. I think that's a good recommendation. Okay, so buy a slow cooker or a pressure cooker. Now, I don't know about y'all. I've got a pressure cooker that can also be used as a slow cooker. So if you're wanting to do something that is more affordable, I would say that's the way to go. Yeah, I mean, I also have a slow cooker, and there's been times where I've used both of them at the same time. But yeah, I think it is definitely, I would say for a clean eating kitchen, that it is absolutely necessary. Because I know how, like in the beginning of the book, they talked about, how can someone with a busy lifestyle eat all of these whole foods, like whole chickens and things that take a lot of time to cook. Slow cooker or pressure cooker is where it's at. Mm-hmm. So, do y'all have an Instant Pot? I don't. I have a Avalon Bay.
Yeah, I have an Instant Pot. I just got it the other day.
I have 2 Instant Pots. I love them. Love them. Like they were a complete game changer. I don't even really use the crock pot anymore. I relegated that to make soap with now. That's my hot process soap gets made in the crock pot, and I just use the slow cooker method on the Instant Pot. I think the Instant Pot is great. I mean, you can do rice in there, you can do yogurt in there. It will incubate the yogurt at the right temperature. You can do your broth in there. You can do obviously all your normal slow cooker stuff. I mean, I think it's a great tool. It's a great tool. So yes, highly recommend.
And I also love, I mean, I don't recommend cooking dry beans without soaking them first, but if you have to, the fact that you can take it from dry to cooked in what is it, 30 minutes pressure cooking time. I mean, that's super helpful. Just don't do that a lot, because then you'll tear your stomach up. But okay, so let's talk really quick about brands in case somebody is shopping for them. I know Ninja makes one. Of course, y'all have an Instant Pot. I have an off-brand. I don't know how long my off-brand is going to last, but I've had it for 3 years and it's still doing really well. Let's see. Heather says, I have all the gadgets: Instant Pot, slow cooker, air fryer, toaster ovens are also great. Mm-hmm. I agree. Kathy says, time to dust off the Instant Pot, I guess. It's on the bottom pantry shelf gathering German Shepherd. Girl, I feel that so hard. But yeah, Are there any other brands that you guys recommend that, might be like a budget friendly and but high quality? Like Instant Pots, I know most of my friends that have them got them like on Black Friday sales. You can find them, I don't know, you can find them anywhere usually.
I got mine probably like a week ago, and I had $100 gift card that I got for Christmas from my work, and I just waited until it went on sale enough. Like I got the one, normally it's like $159, and I got it at Fred Meyer for $100, so I paid tax, and that's it.
Awesome. That is
So
great.
you can find the deals.
Yeah. Just hold out, be patient. But yes, definitely essential if you want to save time in the kitchen for sure. All right. Well, enough about that. Let's talk about actually using them.
Right.
We were discussing this before we came on live, and I was like, I'm surprised that they made this two separate ones.
It's separate.
Yes. Anna was like, it's not the same thing, which I agree. It's not. Owning one is not the same as using it. And I also, my mom got me a pressure canner for Christmas, and it sat in my garage in the box for 2 years before I got enough courage to use it. So
Mine too, and I asked my dad for it. I was like, I want this for Christmas. He bought it for me, and it still took me 2 years.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk. I mean, just use it. Just do it. I will say I'm one of those people, I can read a manual all day long and it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to me. So I like to get on YouTube. That is my go-to. How do I cook this and this gadget? I want to know the times, the pressure, all of that stuff. So YouTube is definitely a really great source. Pinterest is another one. I always go to Pinterest. Like even if I'm making up my own recipe, I still go to Pinterest just to kind of get the ideas of cook time, especially if I'm using my pressure cooker. Even though it's an off brand, I always look at Instant Pot. If I'm going to make this from frozen chicken, how long do I need to cook it for or whatever? So it is a great resource and a great thing to do. So for those of you who use your crock pots and your Instant Pots, what are your favorite recipes? You can just give the name of them. You don't have to share the actual recipe.
I think one of my favorite easy things to use in the Instant Pot for is hard-boiled eggs. If you have not done hard-boiled eggs in the Instant Pot, they come out perfect. You can peel them easy every time. Try it. It's super quick and easy. So yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things to do. The bone broth is the other. I think it's just getting into the habit of having certain things that you're going to use it for, so if you get in the habit of like once a week, okay, I'm going to throw a chicken in there, we're going to do some bone broth, we're going to, you get in that habit. And I think it's just developing those habits, do a once a week, get a dozen eggs and put them in there and have yourself, a dozen boiled eggs ready for the week, or make deviled eggs. I mean, you could have that as a good snack if you don't just want a hard boiled egg. I love deviled eggs. I would probably make those.
That's why I did the eggs yesterday. I just made a batch of deviled eggs, and that was my lunch.
Yes. I mean, that's like an all around good meal. You can definitely like make eggs into a solid meal. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, back in the days when we were a little more broke, sometimes boiled eggs was our protein. I would like do eggs, not deviled eggs, just boiled eggs. And I would do like peas, and I would make like a almost like a chicken gravy. And then we'd have it over rice or mashed potatoes or something. Go ahead.
I like the fact that you can put a frozen roast in and pull it out and have dinner in like an hour.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Same. Whole frozen chickens.
Yeah.
Do the same. Yeah.
Pop it in there. It cooks. I love it.
Let's see. Heather said for her slow cooker, she loves how do you say that? Is it barbacoa? How do you say it?
Yes. Whatever it's called is delicious, is what it is.
I've never had it, but it sounds amazing. Steak tips with mushrooms, carnitas, barbecue ribs. Oh my gosh, you guys are starting to make me hungry. Okay. His sweetie says, I have never used my Instant Pot. I haven't tried the need, haven't had the need as of yet, but I have plans to use it soon for beans to store quick beans for long term. Yeah, Instant Pots are awesome.
Yeah. Make pork tacos. I can't make them anymore, so you have to make them for me. Pork, get you a pork butt and put it in the crock pot, add just some good spices in there, and a beer. Pour a beer in there. Any beer, doesn't matter. You're not going to taste the beer later, but put a beer in there. So good. So good.
Yeah, Parker, my son loves Dr. Pepper, and he found a Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce recipe. But I've seen where people will pour sodas on their while it cooks. I love doing ribs in the crock pot. That is my absolute favorite thing. And one of the cool things about having the Instant Pot or having the crock pot is that it makes kitchen cleanup so much easier, because you've got the one pot, it's doing all the cooking for you. And so everything that you use to do the prep, you can clean and put away while it's still cooking. And it's just, I just love it. I just love it. Let's see, boiled eggs in the Instant Pot are a game changer. Yes, and also I wanted to add this too. For those of us that have backyard birds, the Instant Pot, cooking your eggs that way, fresh eggs, so they peel so much better. Patty says that they cook their dog food in the pressure cooker every day. That's awesome.
That's cool.
Kimberly says chuck roast, you can sear it and then pressure cook it. Yep, that's another function that I love about that, is you can sear your meat and then pressure cook it, and you do it all in the same pot. That is, definitely awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. Air fryer, all dark meat, chicken pieces with the skin, get so crispy, veggies, leftovers. I actually have a video where I did a spatchcock chicken in our air fryer, and it really does. It turns out so, so good. I'm like having a hard time talking because now I'm like actually salivating, but whatever. Don't mind me. Heather said they also don't heat up the house, which is a big deal here in Arizona. Yeah, and during the summer when it's garden season, you better believe I've got stuff going in the crock pot for sure. Just because like when you're hot and sweaty, you don't want to heat up your house, and you also don't want to slave over a hot stove either. No. So, Deborah concurs about the Instant Pot eggs. Still get the dark ring on the yolks. Yeah, I do sometimes, not all the time. I wonder if that just depends on.
I think it depends on how long you cook it. If you overcook it, you get the dark ring. I did see one thing. It was you cook it on low pressure for 5 minutes and let it naturally release for 5 minutes, and that seems to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard the 5 minutes. Okay, so I heard 5 minutes on high pressure, 5 minutes, then quick release and take them out and put them under ice cold water. I think
I heard low pressure. It could be high pressure. I don't know. I did low pressure yesterday and it worked fine.
All right, cool.
Let's see. Heather says, and the obvious soups and stews in the slow cooker or Instant Pot. Yes. Oh, and another thing that I love to make in the Instant Pot is lasagna. That is like, not the Instant Pot, the crock pot. I do a liner in there, and I don't even cook the noodles. I put the noodles in there hard. And also, if you're not doing low carb, if you've made, I have made veggie lasagna with cabbage leaves, but you have to steam the cabbage to make them pliable. But of course, you can also use, zucchini or whatever. You just have to make sure you salt it so you can render some of the water out. But you just layer it in there, cook it on low, and it's so good. It's so cheesy. It's delicious. Kathy said Instant Pot lasagna. I've never made it in the Instant Pot. I've just done it in the slow cooker. Heather says she does her eggs 4 minutes on high pressure, slow release, and they are perfect. And you also want to make sure that you're taking them out and putting them in ice water or cold water, too, to help stop the cooking process.
Mm-hmm.
Patty says, I have a 6-quart Go Wise pressure cooker. Never heard of that one. I cook 30 eggs at a time, for 3 minutes with a 5-minute wait. Usually don't have the dark rings around the yolk. Wow. That's awesome, especially if you can fit 30 eggs in there. I don't know how many eggs I can fit in mine. I mean, I've done it before. I don't know if I could fit 30.
I can fit a lot. I
bet you could fit a bunch.
Yeah.
Probably. It seems like the most I've done is 2 dozen. So that's close to 30. I probably could get 30 in there. Probably could.
They make like this silicone, like it's a basket that you can put in there and like take things in and out. And I was like, that seems right up my alley.
Yeah, I need to get that. I do use the trivet, but I've seen those, and those look super awesome. Heather doesn't bother with the cold water. Oh, I love that. I love finding shortcuts. If I find out to do something, I'm not going to do it.
I like how everybody's literally got a different way. It's like mine goes for 3 minutes and no cold water, and mine goes for this and a quick release. Is like everybody's got this secret trick. It's like, but I stand by my method.
I love it. Let's see. Patty says we have a kennel, and this is the easy way to get all the dog's eggs done for 10 or so days at a time. Wow, that's cool.
Okay, neat.
Very neat. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on because we've got 20 minutes left. Okay, so Practical Bite 39. Oh, don't trust the gluten-free label. Now, why in the world would we not trust the gluten-free label? Doesn't that mean it's gluten-free?
It's grass. That's why.
It's gluten-free, but technically it's not including all of the actual glutens that are out there that are consumable, that they're not including, like the corn and the rice and everything else. Even though they don't have the gliadin in them, they still have gluten in them. So it's misleading. It's just a misleading thing. You're still getting gluten. You're just not getting the same gluten that you are getting in the wheats and the rye and the barleys and all that kind of stuff.
So there you go. Moving on to the next one. I'm kidding.
No.
But yeah, that is super interesting because you see a lot of corn products that say gluten-free. And it was funny because I actually, y'all know I've been doing keto. I've actually been experimenting this week since I haven't had a lot of things in my system. And I have learned that I actually do okay with corn products because I did try some corn tortillas and I did not get bloated. I didn't feel yucky, but I had some bread and it was awful. Like I was not well after having that bread. So I thought it was the gluten, but it's the gliadin. Gliadin? Is that how you say it? Gliadin? So really they just need a gliadin-free label for people who can't eat wheat products. All right.
It would just be grain-free then, because they don't want to say that, because if you go grain-free, that means no corn. And then what would we do without using all that corn that we're producing?
Yeah.
That's the problem, because it'd be corn-free too, and we can't be corn-free.
Yeah. Got to make that money somehow. Don't scare everybody away. Right?
Oh, yeah. But it does. I mean, the thing is I think people don't really know. I didn't really know that either until I think Heather mentioned this a month or so ago when we were talking about the gluten, that this is news to me. I'm like, I guess I'm still consuming gluten because I'm doing corn and rice and potato, this and that and the other. I don't know if the potatoes have gluten in them, but
I don't think
all the other grains do. The other grains definitely do.
Yeah, it was mostly just grains that it mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it says wheat, barley, rye, oats, sorghum, millet, teff, triticale, spelt, durum, einkorn, emmer, corn, rice, except wild rice, groat, gram, amaranth, buckwheat, and quinoa.
Wow. So basically wild rice, that's it. We got to go wild rice. All right.
Wild rice or go home.
Okay. That's new. That's new for me. I'm going to have to actually go gluten-free, I think. Like real gluten-free. Grain-free.
It's not as hard as you think. I've done it for a very, very long time with little bouts of, parts where I have it. But for the most part, I've been grain-free overall for 6-7 years, since before my husband and I got married. And you feel really good. You really do. It's not that hard. It's like veggies and meat, veggies, meat. You can have fruits if you can have sugar, like, and there are alternatives to it. Like you can still, it's not going to taste like a glutinous bread, but there are certain types of breads that you can make. Like there's like an egg protein, bread that you can make that's fairly fluffy. You could do, if you can have dairy, there's like chaffles, there's lots of different people come up with all kinds of stuff. It's not that hard. You just have to get used to it.
I'm tired of eliminating things from my diet.
See, that's why fasting works. You eliminate everything.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to eliminate everything.
Oh my gosh, I want to eliminate everything again. I want I just stop eating tomorrow. Like I'm good. Like everything else is so complicated. Fasting is so easy.
Well, I mean, if you think about it in those terms, it definitely would be easier. I love eating so much. I enjoy eating and cooking and like preparing stuff. And, I like crunchy food. I found that I think at one point I did keto one time, and that was what I missed more than anything was like chips. Not because
you can burn bacon.
Do what?
You can't bacon? Burn. Sorry, other people.
I can burn duck bacon. No, I mean, I think there's just, I don't know. I'm going to have to try. I'll have to try. I'll do it for a little while, but I don't know if I can do it for a long time. I don't have that good mental space to take things away like you do. You said you're a moderator. Yeah, I'm not a good moderator. I'm not a good, I mean, maybe I can moderate, but I guess, I don't know.
Maybe you just need to find substitutes then, instead of just like removing it, like figure out how you can substitute it in and still get whatever product you want with, something that's fairly similar. It's never going to be exact, but like you can find things that are fairly similar, like potato pancakes. Just make potato pancakes and put coconut flour in it instead of, some other kind of flour. Like, there you go. There are ways that you can do it. So if you're somebody who's a moderator, you would just have to find substitutes. Like, whereas for me, it's like, I haven't had bread in 10 years. I don't care. Like, it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I think it's just taking it that extra step that's hard when I'm like, okay, I went gluten-free, technically, but I'm like, now I really got to go gluten-free. Now I really got to dig deeper. I'm like, but I don't want to dig deeper.
But that's kind of how you have to do it. Like if you just sit there and strip everything away in one instant, like you're never going to stick to it. But if you're like, okay, I've made this step and I'm firm in this step, I'm going to take this next, like that's what the bites are all about. It's taking one bite at a time and just doing step by step by step. And then you get to where you need to be eventually, and it's just because if you take everything out, especially for a moderator like yourself, like it's torture. But some people like myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go carnivore tomorrow. I don't care. Like, big deal, whereas for me, it's like, you want me to have a half a cup of ice cream and just walk away?
Yeah.
What? No, like, no, I'm just not gonna have any. Like, that's how I work. And everybody's just different.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if you could do like, I was at TJ Maxx the other day and I was walking through their gourmet food section and they had chips that had the paleo seal on it. Like there was plantain chips and some made with cassava flour. I think cassava is from a root, right? It's not a grain.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very toxic plant. I don't know what they do to it to make it so you can eat it, but it is so bad for you.
Really?
In its normal form. It's like instant death.
I've never looked into what cassava actually is.
It's some weird tropical plant. I don't know exactly. I just know it's probably something like rutabaga. No, not rutabaga. What's the word I'm looking for? The one with the big bushes where you can't eat the actual foliage. Starts with an R. Rhubarb.
Rhubarb. Oh.
Yeah. Like the plants and then like if you eat the leaves, like you can die, but you can eat, for some reason, you eat the stalk and people are like, oh, okay, well, let's do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's weird.
I didn't know that. I'm glad you told me that because I just planted rhubarb. I've never eaten or anything. Don't eat the leaves. All right. Good to know.
It kills you via oxalates.
All right.
Oxalates. Heather says the goal should always be to add foods back in. We need variety to keep the microbiome healthy. You will kill off your good bacteria and lose oral tolerance if you restrict too much for too long. That's one thing I have never understood. People that like their kids who are very, very picky eaters, how they live off of like 3 different foods, and they're usually very processed and awful. And I'm like, that's awful. That's horrible. But they're, that they don't eat things besides that. Okay.
Like I always want to add stuff back in, but it's like as soon as I do, it's just
triggers.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping in my current path of like killing everything off and then like slowly adding everything back in. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to that point where my body can actually process this stuff because it's been a road.
Hey, Tiffany.
Tiffany's here. Hi, be careful where you plant them. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they're in a safe spot. The animals shouldn't get them. Speaking of that, I planted a bunch of catnip for my flower farm. Yesterday, I saw my cats out there. They were all over it. They were trying to eat it. They were just like sitting in it. Like, let me smell this.
The males are like more affected by it than the females, I think. Hilarious.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, Heather said, talking about the kids that eat just a few things. Those poor kids end up coming to me as adults because they have autoimmunity.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh, hello. I have a friend. She was lonely. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on. I think we're down to the last bite, which is peel your apples. But wait, I thought all of the vitamins was in the peeling.
It is with the wax.
Poison.
Waxing's delicious. I'm being sarcastic. Oh, man. Okay. So yes, there is wax on the apples. Now, I think I could be wrong. Seems like I've seen things floating around how you can wash your apples that take the wax off, but it would be very difficult to do, wouldn't it? Without actually ruining the apple. Mm-hmm. And is it really worth it? That's a stretch. She made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, peel your apples.
Wax.
All right, have a good yeah. So I don't know.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Hold on. That's an old school landline. If y'all didn't know. Let me try to mute myself.
But other than peeling apples, which yes, that definitely want to do that. But it does go on to talk about some other things. Knowing how to properly prepare produce when you come home, I think it really is huge. You definitely don't want to just, open a package and eat it because they're filthy and because of all the stuff that is in it and on it. Ooh, Heather has a hack for wax. Add 1 tablespoon each of baking soda and salt and water to a bowl and swish the fruit around in the bowl. It takes it right off. Great for grapes. Ooh, that is a great tip. And I'm going to write that right in my book. So, all right. So 1 tablespoon each of baking soda and salt in water. Swish the stuff. Salt in water. Awesome. All right. I'm so totally going to do that. Kimberly says, I got some apples at a local orchard last fall, and I was so disappointed that they had wax on them. Oh, I bet I know which one you're talking about. Kimberly lives very close to me. Let's see. It was a storage variety, so I'm hoping they haven't started doing it on all of them. Ugh, that's terrible. So you can do 1/2 tablespoon for smaller batches. This is for a whole bag of for the whole bag of grapes, for example. Okay, very good. Good deal. Thank you for that. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I didn't know that either. Yeah, I hate that the apples had wax on them, even from the local orchard. I remember reading that in the chapter too, that they said that a lot of them, if they're selling at a grocery store, will have to try to present the comparable product to what's being sold, so they're doing the same stuff. I guess you got to pick. You got to go pick apples yourself when they go in season. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, okay. So we've got just a few minutes left. Any final thoughts on the reading? So just to go back and review, we've got don't trust the gluten-free labels. Get an Instapot and slow cooker and then use them. Peel the apples and pay attention to the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, especially if you're watching your money. So those are all excellent tips, especially now that we're getting, we're at the tail end of spring coming into summer. This is really great tips in a very timely fashion. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So for next week, if you guys want to read Practical Bites 41 through 45, and then we can discuss that next week. I was trying to see. It's not too terribly long. So it's pages 253 to 275. All right.
That's not bad. We can definitely handle that little bit.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. All right. So this is awesome. Very exciting. Good stuff. Yeah. So hopefully some of y'all or all of us or some of us can implement some of these this week. Maybe give it a try. Maybe shop from the Dirty Dozen or the Clean 15 if you haven't already gotten groceries this week. Yeah. So, all right, we got 3 minutes. So, y'all have anything you want to share?
They make an app for that. You can download an app if you're unsure of what it is. There's all kinds of apps for like the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. Like you can just keep it on your phone. It's pretty easy. Yeah.
I did not know that.
There's always an app for that.
There is.
I don't know the name of it, but you can just Google it and then it'll tell you if you don't actually have it. I just Google it every time. I'm like, what Dirty Dozen Clean 15, and it pops up with the EWG website.
That's cool. I'll have to look that up because I always forget what they are. So that's cool. Ha. That was brilliant.
If you have the app, like if you're at Costco, I don't know where y'all are, but like usually any Costco I go to never has cell phone reception, so it takes like 14 minutes to load a web page. So if you have the app on your phone, it can be a little bit easier to access places like that.
Very cool. And I guess too, you could find a list and just screenshot it and keep the picture in your phone too if you needed to.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
All right. Y'all have anything coming up on your channels that you want to share? Anything else?
I do have a couple things that'll be coming up. I'm doing a garden tour, flower farm tour. I just have to let my internet do its thing. It takes a few days sometimes for me to get my stuff uploaded. So one day this week, there'll be a video on that. So yeah, come join me.
Awesome.
I'm just doing videos. I just do my lives most Mondays, and then I just do videos. Whatever video floats my boat that I feel like editing, I do it. And then when I'm doing stuff, I film it. And then that's kind of how it works around here. I have videos that are filmed a year and a half ago that I still need to post. And then I'm still making videos and occasionally even post new ones before I do my old ones. It's in no particular order. It's just whenever I feel like it.
Well, it's awesome that you have so much content, though. That's great. I said it's awesome that you've got all that content, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just because I like to do stuff and I love editing, but editing takes so long. I don't do
it. It does, especially when you really want to do it to make it good.
That's when you guys do your lives, Monday nights. Yes. Tell them what time.
5 o'clock Pacific And then Tangi's right after at 6 o'clock Pacific.
Mm-hmm. Which is 8 p.m. Central. Yes, yes, yes. All right. And let's see. What we have coming up, I I have a new little garden bed thing that I shared the assembling of it yesterday. I'm going to be filling it. I actually have an idea. I think I'm just going to put flowers in it. I thought about doing edibles, but I think I'm just going to do flowers. And then on the lattice, I think I'm going to put twinkle lights on it.
Ooh, yeah. Do that. Yeah, do that.
I think that's be cute. So I'll be doing that. And then we finally got our tiller back from my father-in-law. So hopefully we'll get the ground prepared soon. And so we'll have some gardening videos finally. Speaking of gardening, I mentioned that Kimberly lives not far from me, and she posted on Facebook that she's started too many plants. So I might be getting some from her, which will be great because I am so behind on everything. But anyway, all right. So that does it for our hour. Thank you all so much for joining us. We look forward to talking with you guys next week. Don't forget to be praying for Constance and her family and be watching for her channel. She will have a video explaining the situation. And that is all. You guys have a great week. And until next time, remember to be vigilant, be prayerful, and be prepared. And we will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.